chickens in the road. Just coming through a narrow little mountain pass that somebody's building blew over. Thought I'd show y'all a little bit of this out roaming today. Well, hello everyone. How y'all doing today? Welcome to our channel. Welcome to the Hillbilly Files. My name is Leo, and I will be your humble hillbilly host today. For those of you who may be fans of Star Trek, you may be familiar with Vulcan, the planet where Spock is from, right? You know, the planet Vulcan, okay? This is not that Vulcan. This is a totally different Vulcan. This Vulcan is in Vulcan, West Virginia, right across this bridge right there. This is a really small little community. Kind of hugs the hillside, comes down this way, around here, and then goes back up the river, follows the river back up that way. But I have something really cool. I've got a really cool location for you guys today. Well, I guess that's pretty obvious, huh? Beautiful, isn't it? Both sides. I've also got a really cool story for you guys today too. And we'll let the truck go by. Wow, look at the river, how pretty. Beautiful, isn't it? And the pickup truck coming. We'll let him go by, then I'll tell you the rest of the story. Now this is Vulcan. And as you can see, the bridge is directly behind me. Okay, now that brings us up to speed. Alright. The tiny West Virginia community of Vulcan sits on Mingo County's border with Kentucky, surrounded by mountains on three sides and the Tug River on the other side. Once, Vulcan was a booming coal town, but its real claim to fame is the bridge that links it to the outside world. That bridge right there. Now, a bridge that was almost built by the Russian government to insult the U.S. government almost 50 years ago during the height of the Cold War. The 50 or so families of Vulcan went for nearly 6 years without a passable bridge or even a legal road to get in and out. They had no safe way to drive in and out of town after the bridge that had been built by the coal company collapsed in 1974. The only way people could get in and out was to drive up the Kentucky side of the river and walk across a narrow swinging bridge, which also collapsed a year later in 1975. For years, a local man named John Robinette, he was sort of Vulcan's self-appointed mayor. He pleaded with coal companies and legislators at all levels for a new bridge, but they all told him the same thing. There's no money for a new bridge for you. The situation was dire. The local children here, had to actually crawl underneath parked railroad cars at the railroad's bridge just to get to school. One child lost a leg doing that very thing. A few motorists tried to take the railroad right-of-way over the river to the roads on the Kentucky side, but there wasn't much room next to the live tracks. Twice, elderly couples flinched, jerked their steering wheels to avoid the trains, and ended up in the river. The railroad began prosecuting anyone caught on their property. Robinette and the town were losing patience with their government. A bartender and carnival worker who proudly flew Old Glory over his trailer, Robinette was ready for a drastic move. In 1977, he wrote the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C., as well as officials in communist East Germany, describing Vulcan's plight and requesting foreign aid for a new bridge. The Soviets jumped at the opportunity to embarrass the U.S. government and immediately dispatched a journalist, Iona Andronov, to Vulcan, West Virginia. Andronov said that the Soviets would indeed fund the bridge if the American government did not. By witnessing and broadcasting the locals' woes, the Soviet journalist finally brought attention to the ignored small community. Within hours of Andronov's visit on December 16, 1977, word came down from Governor J. Rockefeller that West Virginia was working with Kentucky to build a new bridge for the community. Newspapers across the nation were talking about Vulcan's appeal to the Kremlin. Some fervent anti-communists weren't, sorry, bug flying around. Some fervent anti-communists were not amused with the little trick that Robinette had pulled on the government. Local newspapers and radio stations in West Virginia started to receive threats that any bridge built with red aid would be blown up. But Governor Rockefeller kept his promise and had the bridge built. 2 years later, on July 4th, 1980, the 300-foot bridge was dedicated. It cost over $1 million. The cost split between Kentucky and West Virginia. And according to news reports of the day, locals celebrated with illegal imported Russian vodka and an American flag waving over their brand new bridge. How cool is that little story? The locals here, like I said, they could not get their government to do what they were supposed to do. Y'all know, when you elect someone and you elect them to look after you, your family, your community, your state, your country, pretty much in that order. And when they don't, there's usually not a whole lot of recourse. You have to do with what you've got. But Mr. Robinette, on the other hand, he wasn't willing to accept that outcome. He wanted a bridge. He knew what his community, he knew what his neighbors were going through. And just so anybody's curious, I looked at this on Google Earth. There's a road that goes down here, crosses the tracks, goes back that way. Vulcan Road does. This one goes back that way. They both dead end. What you are looking at, the center of, the center of your screen is the geographical center of Vulcan. This is the center of the community right there. There's houses back up that way on the hill. You can hear the chickens. You hear them right back in there. Welcome to West Virginia. And Kentucky. Kentucky's right there. So yeah, they're in on it too. But the trees, we've got some problems. We have some forest fires in the area. We got a really cold spell. And right when the leaves were starting to change, everything got really cold. And we got a couple 20 degree nights, and all of a sudden all the leaves dropped. So now we've got forest fires here and there. But anyway, I just wanted to, we got some rain on the way, hopefully. I'm going to put them out. Skies are pretty dark. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of a rain shower today or so. But anyway, guys, thank you all for coming along. We very much appreciate you guys. And this is Leo from Vulcan, West Virginia. And I guess from here I've only got one more thing to say, right? live long, and prosper. I'm a Vulcan, get it? See y'all later. Hope you enjoyed the story. Leo out. Normal fare for my day. I'm out in the right area, and I've stopped and talked to one gentleman. He said speak to a Miss Daniels, but I didn't see her out at her place, so I'm just kind of looking. I kind of have an idea of what I might be looking for, but maybe not. So I'm just going to take a quick peek, and if I don't see what I'm looking for, should be a little trail off to the right with a steel cable across it and a milk jug hanging on the cable. Yeah, West Virginia directions, right? Go past the dog and turn right. So I'm looking for a steel cable on the right hand side of the road with a milk jug hanging off of it. And if I don't see it, I will go back and go find Mrs. Daniels and see if she knows, because it's a Daniels cemetery. And a local guy that I was just talking to recommended that I go ask her, because she's a Daniels, and he said she's about 85. But so if anybody would know, it would be her. But just check this little road out. Pretty normal fare, actually. Out roaming the countryside, looking for some little obscure road that will take me where I need to be. There's a little trail going up. It's on the right side. Oh, steel cable, baby. Can we get over there? That is it. I have found it. If I can get off the road without destroying the Mustang, we've got it whipped. Oh, little bump. I think we're off the road enough. Ah, imagine that, steel cable with a coffee can and a milk jug hanging off of it. That's exactly what I was looking for. And there's a big dog too, so you know, that's just part of it too. All right, now we gotta walk. Well, I got by the dogs, but as usual, there's always a hill for Leo to climb. I'm used to it at this point. Now I'm told it's about a 10-minute walk up here. Trying to rain a little bit on and off, but I'm pretty sure that we are indeed on the right track. I see a marker. You hear the rain trying to pick up a little bit. Look at that, where I'm at. Look how beautiful this is. I see some back on the hill too. It looks like there might be a little bit of a climb. Daniels. This is it. Martha Adams, Eddie Roy. Looking for a couple names in particular. There are a lot of historical characters in this graveyard. A whole nother feud. Not quite as famous as the Hatfield-McCoy feud, but just as deadly. And you can see there's whole rows of unmarked, just field stones through here. So it looks like we found it. I guess Heather and I, we're going to have to get together on this one and come over here together and cover this, because like I said, there's quite a few stories in here that we've been wanting to tell for quite a while. And I finally found it. I know where it's at now. That is cool. Alright, I guess time to head back down and start heading back toward the house. Got my other story finished and found the missing graveyard. So this has been a good day. Absolutely been a good day. Assuming I get by the dogs again.